and we are recording, and here we go.
Hey, welcome to my channel. So today we're going to do something a little different. The other day I was talking to Chase and we were having a conversation and he said, well, I have something to say that you may not like. So Chase, do you want to tell them what, what you had?
Okay. Yeah. Luann reached out to me on Instagram, and like 2 days had gone by, and I hadn't even looked at my Instagram messages, and I sent her a message, and then it's like, okay, yeah, let's have a conversation. But then I got like super busy, so I gave her my number, so she called me, and we just had a great conversation. It was awesome, and then I'm like, hey, Lan, by the way, I don't think you're an ESTP, like not at all. So just
Can I butt in,
no.
can I butt in for a second?
Oh yeah, always.
Okay, in case you guys are, getting your panties all in a bunch right now, I don't think it's that big a deal. Chase wants to make a case for why he thinks I'm an ENFJ, and I'm going into it with, the spirit of open-mindedness, and he made some good points, and I'm going to hear him out, and I think, yeah, go into it with interest and a desire to learn.
Awesome. Yeah, and we also have Katie, who I absolutely maintain is an ESTP, hands down, but she's here to call me out in case it needs to happen. So.
Yeah. And what the really funny thing here is that Luann and I may have had a whole discussion on why we're convinced we're the same type. So this
which I'm not convinced that I'm not going to post it. I think it would be funny to see that, to listen to this chat and then post that and see what we had to say and I think it'll be a fun journey to go on.
Yeah, I agree. Like that's the thing about a lot of people who just happen to be like mistyped on YouTube and whatnot. They're too afraid to admit that they might be wrong. And honestly, like it's really important. I mean, I made the mistake of mistyping like one of my staff a while back, and that's where we have my like how to avoid mistyping video came from, because I made a mistake. I'm not always perfect. Yes. It's always so hard to type your own type, for sure. So it's just kind of like how it goes. But yeah. So wow, my mother is calling me. No, it's all good. But anyway, but yeah, yeah, we had a discussion. It was great. But I'm like, Luann, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it right now. But yeah, like. So like, for example, Luann was immediately like direct with me, like right off the bat. She chose her role in the discussion, right, like immediately. She made that decision.
Hey,
And
I have a question though. How else could I have gone about that?
you could have been informative, like, so instead of like, it's kind of like beating around the bush, but you don't beat around the bush is basically what I'm saying. Typically people who are informative, like me, I beat around the bush. I have a hard time being direct with people. It's an issue. The reason why is because I don't want to come off like super disrespectful and whatnot, and it could be an issue. But that's not always the case, as to how that's going. Wow, for some reason my email won't shut up. Okay, now it's shut up. Awesome. But yeah, like so take it like informative people. They don't choose their role in the conversation. They make a statement, like a general statement, just to see how the other person would react, and then they make another statement just to see how that same person will react, until they guide that person into like what it is they actually want them to do. Instead of.
Well, I have a question. Have I done that in conversations since then? Because I had to get your attention on Instagram. I had to say something to get your attention. Have I done that in conversations since then?
Nope. You've been primarily direct. You just say what you mean what you say. You're just telling me what you think, but you're doing it in a very empathetic manner. You're making me, feel good. You're giving me a good experience, making me as comfortable as possible, which is really great. And because I've been so comfortable, and I don't know, we just hit it off on the phone, and it worked out, pretty well. And here I am. And the best part is though, like, you were willing to, take this form of criticism that I was offering, etc., and just kind of go with it. Like, that's actually really rare. I mean, I've talked to some of the other YouTubers out there, who do psychology, for example, Jungian analytical psychology, because it's usually been a real negative experience, and you're the first one. It's like it's not been a negative experience, and I'm like, wow, I feel really good about this. I'm getting a good experience. I'm really really comfortable. So yeah, of course I'm gonna go on your show. Of course, why not? Like, yeah. And
I appreciate it. And there's actually a reason that I'm doing it, because I do see, and I mean, I've mistyped people so often in my life. Like, I've been sure that they're one type, and then I find more information, and I'm like, oh, I was wrong about that. And I mean, I think it's so easy to do. I think it's easy to mistype people. And then I also think that it's very easy or I think it's hard to see ourselves objectively as we are. So, I mean, I think that it's just not that big a deal. I mean, if I do decide that I think that you're right, I mean, it won't even be a big deal to me.
yeah. Because you're like, oh yeah, I really want to be that type. That would sound great to me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so but anyway, yeah, this discussion was great, and you're instantly direct. So by knowing that you're direct alone, it's like, okay, she's not saying very many words. She's choosing her role in the conversation. She knows what she wants. She knows exactly what she wants, and she's not beating around the bush. She's being very nice, very cordial, and then I'm like, great. And also, you're going about it in like a very controlled manner. You are very laser focused on the outcome that you are looking for in our conversation. Whereas someone like me, I'm not really outcome focused. I just create a process basically that I just follow for like every outcome that I want. Whereas when you're doing when you're looking at a specific outcome, it takes you a little bit longer to get there. Because and that's why people may like accuse you of being slow, or you see other people being too fast, and you're like, hey, you're way too fast, you need to slow down. And I'm super fast like that. But from your standpoint, it's more of, I need to create an individual process for every single outcome that I have, because that's what it is to be a control type, because you have to keep things under control. Because if you have chaos out there, you're not going to get anything done. And if things are out of control, it's like, I can't get anything done. I need to get things done. And people are going to feel bad. They're depending on me. They're going to get a bad experience from me. I'm not going to be able to deliver because there's just too much chaos. I have to take some semblance of control here. And that's kind of the attitude that I got from you over our phone call, to be able to do that. And then you're very initiating with me. So obviously, because you're an extrovert, which is awesome. So that means you're direct, initiating, control, which places you into the structure interaction style, also known as the in charge types. So we've just eliminated 12 types just off of that, just immediately, just off of that. And now we got to figure out, like, well, what's your temperament? Like, which of the four that you are? So you have ESTJ, ESTP, right? And then you have ENTJ and ENFJ. So you're one of those four, right? And typically it's like, okay, well, I'm an ESTP. And I'm like, no, you're not. But let me tell you something. The type that I do think you are is absolutely ENFJ. And the reason why, and I'll talk about why ENFJ and ESTP are so similar, because they're actually extremely similar to each other. It's because they actually see the world through the same eyes. They also think, somewhat similarly. They also make decisions about the world similarly to each other, and that's just a completely different approach, right? So, what is the temperament? Well, you're very, very people focused, very people driven, all about, like, the social rules, the social norms. It sounds very affiliative, because it's like, Luann just wants to do the right thing. If she was an ESTP, she'd be going off doing like what just works, right? But Luann's always trying to do the right thing. So,
Katie, I want to hear what you think about right now.
Just the hilarious part is, like, I get why everybody thinks like you have so much effie on camera, but I said it, you get this girl in real life and she is chilly and she doesn't care about, I don't know, you get her out in public and she's really not worried about any of this doing the right thing nonsense. You know what I mean?
It's about her doing the right thing, though. And when she's out in public, she could be cognitive transition in her ISTP subconscious, as like an ENFJ would be. And then that would make her a little bit more pragmatic, and then she can become pragmatic. Because, like, when you're going out, you're in your subconscious, and then because that's what I do. Like when I go out, for example, I'm like a complete gentleman. Like I go ISFJ subconscious mode. I'll even like, I don't know, I'll even wear a suit or whatever. Like I'll go all out for that. I'll open doors for people. Stand up, when women are sitting or leaving at a table, I just go, in that direction. But, when you go out and whatnot, people are usually going out to have a good time with their subconscious, right? So, of course, she could be pretty chilly, and those ISTPs, get pretty chilly in those situations when they're kind of transitioning as a result, right? But it's just that side of the mind. It's not necessarily like her ego, right? Because her ego is all about primary interactions, not necessarily secondary interactions, right? But like when you're in like a
nice. But so what would you make of the fact that I actually like to break rules, because I don't like for people to think of me as doing the right thing all the time. Like when I was growing up Amish, I mean, if you watch any of my my ENTP, the first ENTP video I do, I talk about how disruptive I was to the class. I didn't care that my teacher spent most of the day yelling at me. She was beautiful, so I would just stare at her and look at how pretty she was. And I wanted to be just like her when I grew up. And my sister would come home and cry and try to teach me my lessons because I was refusing to do schoolwork. But I just so much did not give a shit about my schoolwork or what the teacher thought of me that I just refused to do it until I had my ENTP teacher. And then he, ENTP'd me into doing it.
It happens.
Explain that.
It happens. It happens. But yeah, like, I mean, I get that, but like, you're like, I don't want people to think of me this way or that, right? Like, it still sounds pretty affiliative.
I do fear rejection a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's that can be a thing. Like, but like, are you like for example, like temperament wise, okay, affiliative, sure, but you're like, what's in it for you? What's in it for me? That's can be like very interest based, right? So that would automatically land you into the artisan or the idealist by default as well. But I do not believe you're concrete. I just don't. Katie is so concrete by comparison. You're pretty abstract. And that's why I maintain you're intuitive. You just know what you want. You always know what you want. Katie, on the other hand, doesn't always know what she wants. And that's because, sometimes she questions, am I going to make the right decision? Is this really what I want to do? I'm kind of concerned about that. Is this like, what if I want the wrong thing? But not you. You're more decisive as a result in comparison to Katie. And then and that's again another example as to why I maintain you're an intuitive and not actually a sensor. Just based on that, which would render you.
I agree with what you just said, Katie. Do you have anything to say to that? Because I want to hear what you have to say about that specifically.
Well, you did videos just trying to figure out, like, quote, what your purpose in life is. Like, talking to you, I have no idea what you want. Like, listening to you talk, like, what do you want? Like, let's hear about it.
Okay. Here's what, when Chase was saying that, here's what I was thinking. Like, in the moment when I messaged Chase, I knew what I wanted from that. And then in previous conversations since then, I've very much known what I wanted. I very much ask for what I want. Is that what you're talking about, Chase? But then on the purpose of my life, I'm just in the process of figuring it out. Like on YouTube, I don't know exactly what I want, what direction I want my YouTube to go. Like, I'm not laser focused about that. But in the moment, I mean.
Yeah, for sure. And it's always good to be in the moment, in that regard. I mean, I wish I could be in the moment, gotta love, Kitty's like, I never know what you want. Yeah, because that's any demon. Yeah, you're not going to want, like, what other people want is like not your problem, basically, because it's about what you want. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. So from Katie's point of view, it's like, meh, not my thing. What are you doing right now? What are we doing right now? What's happening? Like that, tell me that, please. That's what's relevant. That's what's real.
Okay. So wait, what you're saying is because that I take into, like, for instance, you and I had a conversation. I was like, I'm using you right now because I asked you to post to share this on your channel, and because I can tell that, I mean, you have more followers. I know what I'm getting out of the situation, but then I know also what you're getting out of out of the situation. But then Katie, you would say that she just wouldn't know.
Oh, she does. Yeah, she does. So she's interest-based as well. So an interest-based person in their temperament is always aware of what's in it for me, what's in it for other parties. And if they're not aware of that, they will find out, because then it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. Am I safe in this situation? Is this not safe or whatever? You know what I'm saying? And given my previous interaction with Katie, that was a very interest-based conversation that we had, trying to figure out where everyone's interests lie. That way, we could make this this video actually, a thing, right? Which is completely understandable. So both of you are very interest based, but me, no, I'm systematic. I'm constantly like making a system about like literally everything, and I'm always talking in systems and processes or ways of doing things and methodologies. But both of you are like, hey, we're very interest based, and that's why, like, from an ESTP, ENFJ standpoint, you guys are super, super similar, because you have the interest, the interest-based aspect of, of your temperament. You're also both direct. You're also both initiating. You're both control. You have that. So they're very, very similar. And you can actually look at it this way too. The ESTP and the ENFJ, they have the exact same cognitive functions. They have the exact same functions. It's just they're in a different order. They're part of the STP NFJ quadra. So
Okay. Can we go through each of the functions and talk about why we think for her it's in one place and me it's in another one? Can we do that?
Yeah, sure, we can do that. Yeah. So so let's look at like so I usually don't go through individual functions. I prefer to use cognitive axis, which is like the theory where the cognitive functions are attached to each other and they spin around in your head, basically like electrons flowing around the atom, etc.
Oh,
Yeah. So but for her, she was just so direct. I knew that extroverted feeling, was like, wow, and then SE child, she was really giddy about making there. But remember, between both the types, you have FE hero and then FE child. Child and hero functions, they are primary functions. They're very optimistic. So they're very outgoing, when they're in the optimistic slot. And then they're pessimistic, the other functions. So both of you have pessimistic TI. It's just that, Katie, your TI is 3 times as strong as Luann's TI, basically, and you're able to process more. But the difference is that Luann ends up having higher FE, which actually makes her extremely caring to other people, always going out of the way, almost to the point of like being self-sacrificing in various cases, and to the point of like almost being willing to be like burned out, as a result. Whereas, and also a byproduct of that is being easily guilted. Like Luann would be insanely weak to guilt. That's why, on the phone conversation yesterday, I'm like, hey, don't feel guilty about this. It's all good, because she's like, oh, but I'm, and she's just a few minutes ago, oh, but I'm using you. I know what I'm getting out of it or whatever. Like, no, don't feel guilty about that. It's totally fine. Like, seriously, don't feel guilty about that. We're cool, And
okay,
then,
but I'm actually pretty susceptible to that as well.
yes, you are, because FE child. I have FE child too. So like, I am extremely susceptible to guilt, to the point where like sometimes like I've been guilted into doing things that I never would have wanted to do. I mean, all 3 of us like have had that experience in our life because we're FE users. All FE users have that issue, because then we just start feeling bad about ourselves. We feel like we're not doing the right thing, or we're actually harming other people, and it's like, well, wait a minute, I need to be more caring than this. I know what's in it for me, but then like I just ignored what's in it for that other person. I guess that makes me selfish. I need to be more caring about that, and it can go in that regard, right?
Well, hey, Chase, so I have, with doing this YouTube channel, I've been so, passionate about it and so into it that I've been not talking to my family. I mean, random occasional messages, but I haven't had like a phone conversation with my friends and family except for one sister for probably about 2 months, and they message me and they're like, we know you're into this thing, and like they're used to it because I get passionate about stuff and I just ignore relationships except for the ones I'm excited about.
Yeah, because that's that's NI parent. You know what you want to do, and your willpower is extremely strong. But the fact that you're aware of those relationships means, again, you're affiliative and you're not pragmatic. Because a pragmatic person, those relationships are not as high a priority to them, because a pragmatic person can actually view relationships as something that they would be that could be like a weakness, or something to hold them down, or something that could inhibit their freedom or independence, right? Whereas from your point of view, you're independent, but you can take your relationships with you and you can manage those relationships because you know how to play the social game. But a pragmatic person, the affiliative rules, because being affiliative has all these social rules that you have to adhere to. A pragmatic person who happens to be an FE user, like TPs, basically INTPs, ENTPs, ESTPs, ISTPs, we're aware of a lot of social rules and social minutia and social norms, and we can use them to our advantage. But it's always for the sake of asserting our independence. It's not about really going out of our way for the sake of others. We're independent, whereas an affiliative person is very interdependent. An ENFJ is all about trying to be on a team and doing it and being successful together. Whereas an ESTP is like, nope, I don't need anyone. I can just handle it. So,
Luann, what do you think about that?
Well, listen, so I actually have some things to say about that. I wouldn't be doing YouTube if Nathan wasn't on my team, because I don't do things that I don't have a teammate for. I don't do things by myself.
Yeah.
But she has like what, 20 siblings?
Yeah. So I spent my entire life, I've never had the opportunity to be by myself. Not that I would ever seek out the opportunity, but
she literally hadn't spent a night alone until like a few months ago.
Yeah, I spent my first night alone a couple months ago.
Yeah, I'll try not to grin ear to ear.
But Luann, so you agree with what he's saying though? But you agree that you're.
I can see what he's saying, because I don't like to.
Side of the coin, because what he is saying about being pragmatic, like that definitely is me. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Well, hey, will you ask me the specific question that you're wanting to know?
Like, do you think that you need, Chase, what did you say? Like, do you need other people? Wait, you just answered that. Chase, repeat what you said.
Interdependence versus independence. Being on a team with somebody. Always, having a togetherness with everything that you do, instead of just handling it by yourself and being independent.
Okay, if that were the deciding factor, if I'm an ENFJ or not, I 100% do that. I don't like to do things by myself. But then again, I mean, I'm not convinced that makes me an ENFJ, because I have spent a lifetime of just having a teammate and never doing anything by myself. I never do anything by myself.
So I haven't released this yet. It's in season 17, but like when you're growing up and dealing with situations, like human nurture can really, really shape our types. And like when we're born in a quadra, right? We're born into this 4-type quadra. So both of you are the STP NFJ quadra. I'm the SFJ NTP quadra, basically. So I'm like the alpha quadra, for example, and your type can change based on the experiences that you have as a child until you hit adolescence. Then your ego is fully formed, and then boom, that's it. That's what you're type for like the rest of your life, unless you suffer like a head injury from a car accident or something. Then it can change. But outside of that, say again.
Joe Rogan's been harping on that for the last forever. The head injury.
Crazy people have had head injuries.
Fair enough.
Luann, wait, what I really wanted to know out of what he said, I remember, was like, do you feel like people hold you down? Do you feel like relationships hold you down?
No.
Fuck. I mean, okay, I do. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely feel that way.
But why would you have relationships that hold you down? Just change the relationship.
Well, you need them. See, I've never been good at like making them be what I want them to be.
Well,
You know
what,
what I mean?
like, that actually sounds interesting. Like, can you explain that? Because I think that'd be awesome because I know that my STP audience, like I have one specific STP in mind that I really want to watch this video. So if you could actually walk us through that a little bit, that would be awesome. Um,
I don't know how, like, I don't know how to get people to like back off or give me space because I just feel guilty for like pushing them away. Like, I just don't know how to get people to give me what I need from
me
them.
too.
Like, no
Me
idea.
too. I have that issue too.
Uh,
Effie child.
yeah. So like, I just, once, if I start feeling like smothered, I just like disappear. For the most part.
But here's the deal. People will usually let you do whatever you want if you just go ahead and do it.
What do you
You
mean by
don't
that?
have to, huh?
Can you define that a little bit more? Can you walk us through that a little bit more? That'd be awesome.
I mean, you don't have to. I mean, I probably need more specific questions. I mean, if you want to do something, just do it. And most of the time, always basically, if you have good teammates, they will just let you do it. And I mean, I'm surrounded by teammates that want to help me make my life happen. So my teammates actually come into my life and try to help me make happen what I'm trying to make happen.
The people around me are getting better and better, but I don't know. I do feel like what if I hurt somebody's feelings? Do you know what I mean? Like on the way, like that's like terrifies me. If somebody has like an emotion,
Terrifies me too.
You know,
if somebody has,
people like when you need their help. People love helping.
yeah, but like I don't think
People love when you lean on them, huh?
I don't think everybody can help me. You know what I mean? I don't, yeah, see, okay, this is very interesting because I don't really feel like I need much help. You know what I mean? Like, I asked my roommate to drop off a box for me today. Does that count? I don't know. But, yeah, I don't feel like I need people's help much.
But do you like it? If it happens, do you like it?
I don't know.
Well, the thing is that she asks people help. She's like, okay, well now I owe them, and then they could ask me for a favor later, and there might be strings attached, and then that might inhibit my freedom. And then what if that happens at a bad time? You know?
Yeah. And for the most part, I just don't need it. Like, I got it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine. Yeah, but I'm really scared that if I just do whatever I want all the time and I have like people who are uber super close to me, that I'm going to like hurt somebody's feelings.
Yeah, or potentially make them uncomfortable, right? Or maybe cause them to like have such a negative reaction where they become disloyal to you and just start doing things that's like no, 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 and then all of a sudden because of disloyal to you, they start getting in the way of your freedom of choice, and it's like, okay, now I can't do what I want anymore because this person's just pissed off, and now I'm obligated, you know, and then
And then
the
I just feel
obligation
like I'm dead inside.
yeah, like
Then I curl up in a ball.
yeah, exactly, yeah, and then it's just like, well, and then you don't know what you want to do about it, and which it gets even worse, and then you have no clue, and then it just ends up becoming like this endless cycle of inaction over time, and then it's like, okay, well maybe I could just wait through the whole thing to blow over, you know what I'm saying? And then usually it does, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes these people just don't forget about that social interaction, and then they just don't let go. They like will not let go, and it's like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, are you gonna let this go? I mean, am I just gonna have to deal with the fact that you're just gonna be disloyal to me for like the rest of my life, or not really be someone that I can rely on or anything?
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah,
So
sure.
people, it doesn't come up. It's not an issue in my life that people are disloyal to me. Like, how does that happen to you guys?
Right.
What do you consider to be
Again,
disloyal?
I find that if I accidentally offend somebody, that sometimes they will be like angry with me or like hateful towards me, and I won't even necessarily know it until they've like spread information about me that didn't need spread, or yeah, or they just start being cruel in ways that I don't quite catch on to for a while, or I mean, these are disloyal things, you know what I mean?
It is disloyal things. Like I actually had something happened to me recently around the same vein. Like I was in a relationship with somebody, and then it just didn't work out, and it really came down to trust. It really came down to trust, because my friends would accuse me of being very untrusting. Like they do, and they try to do. And you know what? They're they're not wrong. They're not wrong. I do struggle with that, because it's like, okay, if I'm gonna
Hey,
trust this.
hang on 1 second. My husband's very concerned that I'm not on. Oh, I forgot to delete the chat. Hey, can you message in there and tell them that? Can you log on to mine and tell them that I'm recording? Because I posted a post in my community. Thanks, babe.
Look at that. She's such a team player. That's awesome, and so is he. That's great.
He was so concerned. Okay, but what were you saying?
He was so concerned because he's so sympathetic towards you. Wow, he's got to be a high FI user, so he's FI parent, FI hero instantly.
He's definitely INTP. I will not.
Oh, okay, interesting. So maybe he's like, okay, so FE inferior is just making sure you're okay. Any parent is like, oh, this might be bad. I don't know if it is. I need to verify with you. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a great relationship for ENFJs. That's super good relationship. It's highest sexual compatibility for sure. So yeah, I highly recommend that relationship for ENFJs. I actually know a few ENFJs in good NTP relationships. Some of my very, very close friends, and it's fantastic. You just have to just communicate. You just have to communicate through like literally everything, and it's good as long as you just don't jump to conclusions, and you're fine with the fact that the other person can't exactly be emotionally developed. Then it's cool, because it's like because, like, for example, I'm an NTP. Like, anyone trying to like emotionally develop me, like, no, like I can't even.
We talked about this the other day, you and I did, and I thought about it later. I didn't say this in the conversation, but I don't necessarily, you said that your women can't lean on you emotionally, and Car isn't very there for me emotionally. I have my sisters for that.
Wow. That's actually a very profound point that you brought up. The fact that you actually have a family structure to help you meet your emotional needs, so that where that area is not being handled, by like your husband, for example, it's okay. That's a very affiliative point of view. And I actually didn't really think about that much, because I'm pragmatic, right? I'm trying to do everything by myself, but like, now I understand, like, okay, because like my whole family, like I'm the only pragmatic in my family. They're all affiliative. Even my children are affiliative. So it's I am the black sheep. That's why I'm dressed in black. And everyone knows it, and that's okay. And I behave like a black sheep because I'm just doing like whatever I want. Independent. Even though I'm very dutiful as an ENTP, I'm not as willful as Katie, for example, because I just want someone like you two to tell me what I should do. Like, hey, you should do this because of XYZ reason, or you should do this because I think this, or you should do this because it'd be better if you did this. You're trying to improve me. You're trying to obligate me to make that change because it's going to make me stronger, right? Because I mean, that's what Katie exists for. Like, Katie's number one role in life is to make other people around her stronger, basically. Yeah, to make them stronger and more capable, Whereas Luann's purpose in life is to improve a greater large amount of people and really inspire change, to other people, right? So that's like the difference, between the two of you. Your life purposes are different. My purpose as an ENTP is to provide vision, right? We're all about vision and inventions. Is it raining there? That's kind of interesting. Like, check, like, what's going on up there? Or is it just like a bug like getting around on the ceiling there?
Birds that live. I'm like on the porch.
Are you afraid of getting pooped on?
They're just above the thing. I just always hope I can see them like walking up there, but they're making noise.
Oh, it's all good. We can't hear it anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, but like, so again, STP, NFJ Quadra, going back to the original point, it's the same cognitive functions. You guys are so similar to each other. It's so similar. And I think that's why kind of like the audience has pointed out, hey, we don't think you're both ESTPs. We actually think, Luann might be a different type, for example, right?
Well,
they call me a different type too.
Really? No,
Yeah.
you are an ESTP. Like, they're wrong.
Hey, hey, can you explain why people think that I'm an ESFP? I have people thinking I'm an ESFP.
I think the reason for that is because you're so outspoken with your thoughts that they automatically assume TE because it's like supposedly an outspoken function, but that's not how it works. Like TI users are very outspoken. I mean, look at Katie. If you're gonna say some like if you say bullshit around her, she's gonna call you out. She's gonna be like, no, that's not true. Actually, it's this, and that's very outspoken. But then people will be like, well, you're a TE user because of that. You know, like the talking with famous peoples of the world to be like, oh, you're a TE user. No, no, she's not a TE user. She's just telling the truth. TI and TE are both outspoken. It's just they come from a different place. A TE user is about references. Because if you were a TE user as an ESFP, you'd be like, well, I read this book that says this and this, and I read this article that supports this, and I read this and this, and you have all these reference points, and all this evidence, this huge list of evidence says you're wrong. Shut up. Whereas from your point of view, it's like, no, I think that's not true. Because if that was true, then that would mean this is true, but we know that's not true, so that means that can't be true. It's a completely different way of looking at things. It's not about being outspoken or not. Most people think like, extroverted thinking as a function, it has to be like outward and whatnot. That's why I did my lecture on MBTI letter dichotomies debunked, for example. Like I got rid of that completely, and yeah. So it just to like give you an idea of why that is the case, right? So does that make sense?
I have a question for you that's a
Yes.
little big. So when you meet somebody in real life, how much of your typing do you actually go through the process that you kind of use on your channel, and how
Oh yeah.
much of just like I know? Like
Okay. I got stories. Okay. I got stories. So last Sunday, I was at a meetup group for the CSJ meetup group at Eon Coffee in the San Francisco Bay Area. We were in Hayward, and we were just sitting there hanging out. And this girl comes up to us at the meetup group, and she's like, "Hey guys, is this the CS Joseph meetup group?" And then we're like, "Yeah." It's like, "Okay, cool." And then I'm gonna go get some coffee. And then she goes get some coffee. And then I immediately look at everyone. It's like, well, at least we know the INFJ showed up. And they were like stunned, like, that was only a few seconds. How do you know? And then I walked them through it. She came up to us. She was direct. She wasn't informed about it. She didn't beat around the bush, but she had to verify that it was the CSJ meetup group, which means she's automatically a TIFE user because she went through the verification anyway. She was kind of insecure, didn't want to give us a bad experience, so she's an NISE user. And then she's like, well, I really want to go get coffee. So it's a higher NI, very stronger. So, and she's very abstract because it's like, well, what if this is not the CSJ group? You have to think logically backwards from what she was saying. What if this is not the CSJ meetup group and I'm imposing or whatever? Well, then that means she's abstract. So by process of elimination, she's an INFJ. And I did that in like 5 seconds, right? Last night.
how much? Go ahead.
Oh, say again?
No, go ahead.
So last night I had a similar experience. I was sitting down eating sushi with
Sushi and rum.
yes, sushi. And this guy comes up to us and he's like, hey, what's going on? Can I get you some water or whatever? And, I had a bit to drink. And I looked at him and I'm like, bro, and, what's up with you, man? Like, what are you doing? Like, who are you? He's like, what do you mean? And he starts telling me the story about how like he wants to be a chef. He's not sure about it. And like, I literally just read his mail to him, go through all his cognitive functions, telling him like, hey man, I think really highly of you. If you want to pursue your dream of being a chef, you should definitely do that. And whatnot. It's okay to do whatever you want, give other people good experience. It's all good. And like, and stop walking around feeling like you're a bad person. Like, stop being afraid you're a bad person. I think you're a good person if you're actually at this point in your life. Like, seriously, you got this, and stop worrying about whether or not you're correct about things either. As long as you just do the research or ask other people what they think, you'll be good to go, man. It's no problem, and then also like, don't jump to conclusions about other people's intentions, etc. The guy was flabbergasted. He fist bumped me at the table and whatnot. And then like, I went to the bathroom later and he came out of the kitchen, he fist bumped me again. It was pretty funny. And I had another guy who was all tattooed up and everything. It turned out he was an INFJ, and I read his mail to him too. And then he just started following me on Instagram all of a sudden because he asked me for my Instagram information or whatever. But yeah, like, and they're like, oh wow, but it was nice to be able to like demonstrate it like so quick like that, like but yeah. Say again?
What was the first guy?
ENTJ.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's an ENTJ, he's trying to be a chef, a cook, and then the second guy's an INFJ. And yeah, like I type people all the time, constantly on the fly. It's like second nature to me. I can't get away from it. Like, and I talk, and to people that know me, like that know that I know this stuff, like I'll talk cognitive functions to them like all day long. And I really need to be around people who are not bored of that, because that's just how I am, and it's just not going to go away. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I have a question. I want to know the process of you deciding that you think I'm an ENFJ
Okay.
versus being an ESTP.
I'm going to add to this too real quick. How much of her content have you actually watched?
2 videos.
Okay, great.
I'm really disappointed about that.
Oh,
I'm going to send you some.
okay. Hey, I watched your brunch episode and that was good. And then that got me thinking I need to do something like that. So I'm actually literally thinking about like maybe having sushi day in front of the GoPro. Okay. I'm thinking about it. I'm a sushi guy. Sue me, you know? And yeah. And I so I want to do that. And then I watched your guys' 16 you went through like each of the 16 types, and I only got like about halfway through it. But
You got just enough to get through ENTP or what?
As an ENTP towards the end, so I didn't go through that one for myself. No. Yeah, no, but those are the only 2 videos I had watched. And I had heard other people within my own community actually talk about your channel too, and that's why, because like I was DJing one night, because I DJ on my channel like almost every Friday night. So that's what I do. And when DJing on my channel or on my Discord server, that is, I hang out with people, we talk in the music chat, and then someone, brought up Luann's channel. Like, okay, sure, I'll go take a look, and sure enough, that's where it came up from. And then, and that's just kind of where I got involved with it to begin with. So, but yeah. So you still want me to walk you through how I arrive at my conclusion? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. All right. So again, you're direct, you're very initiating, and then you're very control based. You're not movement. I am movement. I am like flabbergasting around. My camera's moving. Like I am like movement and animated and everything. You 2 are very controlled. Just look by comparison. Like, come on, like it's a thing. And based on that, because you're both control based, you're very outcome focused and whatnot. That's great. So that means you're automatically a structure type. So 12 types are immediately eliminated. So you're either an ESTJ, ESTP, ENTJ, ENFJ automatically, right? And then you're like, you literally said, I want this, I want that in our phone conversation. I'm like, oh, that's high. Oh, like nice little fluffer. Yes. Wow, that's a big one. Holy smokes. That's a big cat. What's his name or her name?
We have commitment issues, so we just call her Kitty. She's been Kitty for 4 years.
Commitment issues. Nice. I actually thinking about getting a cat, because like I live alone and I need my emotional support animal.
Cats are perfect. They're so good.
Yeah.
They're not really high maintenance.
Chase, at the end of the day, it's the pragmatic versus affiliative thing, huh?
It's pragmatic versus affiliative, but she's also very wanty, which means her NI is really high. She, like, an ESTP is not going to tell me on a phone call, I want this, I want that, and just be super direct about it. They're not really going to. They're going to try to.
Maybe.
Huh?
Do you do that at all? Tell people what you want?
It's rare that I'm trying to get something out of a conversation, right? But I think if I was, I might do that. You know what I mean? Like, I rarely go into a conversation with a specific outcome in mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, but then, but every once in a while, yeah, I do.
So what? You just make phone calls just to chat?
What do you, like, with who?
I mean, for instance, like me reaching out to Chase, like I had I I had a plan. But then again, this was because I thought that you would like I thought it would get your attention more. I had something I wanted to say, and I thought that if I presented an idea that you possibly liked, then you would check me out. So I just stated what I wanted. I stated my plan. And I mean, I think that that's usually when I make phone calls, is when I have something that needs to be discussed.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't make a lot of phone calls.
Yeah. It's because
I did call Chase earlier though, and I wanted something specific. I wanted to know something.
Hey, did she go about that the same way I do when I want something?
No, not at all. She was immediately up front after initial small talk ended, and she's like, "Hey, by the way, here's this thing," and it was basically. Say again.
Versus me.
Yeah. Because she's got to establish a level of comfort with who she's talking to on the phone first, whereas you're willing to state what you want first, and then after you stated what you want, then you end up comforting the other person and kind of walking them through that. But she leads with comfort first, you lead with desire first, essentially. Yeah. Because here's the thing, like, she wants people to feel safe around her. Because if they feel safe around her and she gives them a good experience, then they'll be loyal to her and they'd be willing to listen to her. Because sometimes it's like, oh, people can't listen to me because they just assume that I'm like this bully like person, when in reality she's not. And people just need to listen to her.
Oh God, the old Chase mind game. Like you're hitting something, and I don't know what I think about it.
You don't have to. It's all good. It's all good.
I don't want people to be jumping to conclusions yet. I feel like I want to put out that video where we discuss why we think we're the same type.
Yeah, so Chase, that's an interesting thing, is that like I have a lot of ENFJ friends. That's probably my primary friend type, if you will. Okay. And I've never related to somebody on the levels that I do with Luann. You're doing something right now where you're doing a good job finding things that are different about him. But like I've never felt like I had so much in common with somebody. Now I do have another ESTP friend, but she doesn't care to talk about any of this nonsense. You know what I mean? But
that's right. It is nonsense and not necessarily sensible, because that's what SJs want. They want sensible things, and you're built for making SJs comfortable and make things make sense and be sensible for them. But Luann's is like, nope, I'm abstract. Well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And what if this? And what if I want this? What if I want that? What will happen if I just message Chase out of the blue? What will happen? We'll find out.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Got those sensibilities going.
Huh. Luann?
What?
I don't know. Okay, here's my next question. Chase, have you ever been talked out of a typing? Ever?
Probably like one time by an INTJ, a coaching client. She was very stringent on that, and she actually provided me a lot of evidence as to why she was actually an INTJ. It's really hard for me to type INTJs and ENTPs because we're so similar. Like, people, when they type other people, it's so
You think
hard.
ENTPs and INTJs are similar?
Yeah, absolutely, because they have.
What?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, they're pretty similar because they're a golden pair. Like, they belong together. They should be with each other. The golden pair is awesome. Just so, for example, NTJs need to be with NTPs, right? Luann, she's NFJ. NFJs need to be with NFPs, right? For like really good. And you, as an STP, you need
ISTJ recently though, and I could not believe how awkward this person, poor person. Like, I felt sorry for him. That's how I felt about that.
Yeah, well, you could feel sorry for them,
very similar.
but make them better. You could improve them, make them stronger. That's why you exist. You exist to make ISTJs stronger. Make them less vanilla. Make them less boring. Because it
I feel
sticks.
like I feel like I do that to everybody in my life as well. I make people a lot less boring.
Yeah, that's your SE child. Your SE child is doing that, but her SE hero is doing it. So it's a little bit different. But you guys both have those functions in primary optimistic slots, right? So you put in a lot of energy into giving people a good experience, making them stronger, making them less boring, etc. Like Luann, like if you and I actually both of you, if we were all like in the same place, right? And I'm planning on actually going out to Florida for a week pretty soon. When that happens, like I don't know if we should all hang out or whatever, but I think you'd
Oh,
be
we
like,
should.
wow, Chase, you're a lot more boring in person, so we need to liven it up. You know what I mean? Like that will happen, I guarantee you. So
Okay, I want you, just request though. Here's what you should do.
okay.
Is when you meet her in person, like just be open to having some new thoughts about what goes on with the brain of Luann, because I found her to be a different thing in person than she is on camera. Not by a lot, but like, yeah.
It's funny. I've actually received like a lot of similar feedback from like people at the meetup group and whatnot, and they say like, "Wow, people don't actually like know the real you because it's like, oh, this is YouTube, Chase." I'm like, oh,
I
this
100% agree. Like our
Yeah.
conversations are different than you just going at your work. When you go at your work, you're very zoned in.
Yeah, and the reason for that is that like I have to like in order to like operate this thing because I'll be straight, I have no desire to use the whiteboard. I hate the whiteboard. It is
Then screw the whiteboard. Get rid of it.
it is the bane of my existence. But the thing is, I have people in my audience that depend on the whiteboard, and I do it for them. I do it for the NTJs of the world or the TE users because they just need it, and I go out of my way for that for them because I feel like I'm dutifully obligated to do it. So I just do it for them, and I suffer it for their sake, and I just get over myself, and I just force myself to do what I don't want to do. And that's why I feel safer because I want to be like this very loyal person as a result. And then through being so loyal, like it's way better. You know what I'm saying? Like loyalty is everything to me, and I want to demonstrate loyalty to those that I care about because if I don't, then I feel like a betrayer. I feel like a traitor, basically, and
So
I
who
don't
are
want.
you loyal to, Chase?
Like my executive team, my friends in the junto. We also have um, my my meetup friends as well. Those are the people that I'm loyal to. My family, my children most of all. Those are the people that I am loyal to uh, quite much. And it's because like I can't like these people. I can't live without these people. Like I don't want to lose them because I want to be wanted. I want to be wanted by people. Like as an NE user, NE users want to be wanted, right? And this is like STJs, NFPs, NTPs, SFJs. They all want to be wanted. That's all it is. They all want to be wanted. And like honestly, if I'm not wanted, I just don't want to be around, and it absolutely crumbles me. It gives and then if I feel like I'm unwanted, then how can I like be like loyal to somebody, right? After they've made it like, okay, yeah, I really want you, but then they take their desire away from me completely, and then it's like, okay, well apparently I'm unwanted, so I'm leaving. Like I can't be loyal to you. I'm out. Like, and it's a really sad situation, like how that works. And any user needs to have some kind of desire from somebody else, because if that desire is there, that loyalty will be there forever. But when that desire is removed, well, then they can't be loyal to that person anymore. That's really how basic it works. You can also look at it this way, like you do with the feelings. Extroverted feelers are trying to make introverted feelers feel better or feel good about themselves. And the thing is, though, is that the FE user wants to get recognition for their contributions, right? So we're all FE users here. We like it when we make people feel good, and we like to get recognition or credit for making them feel good, or like, for example, like feedback. So for example, Katie, let's say you make someone stronger, you improve them, you make them a better person, and then they have loyalty towards you. They do a favor for you that you really need when you actually do need a favor, which is not often, as you pointed out, right? It's not often that you need somebody to do something for you or to help you. So like you asking for a favor is a really big deal. Like it's a big deal when you ask for a favor. And you know that you've gone out of your way to help out other people as much as possible. And if they refuse to give you that favor when you're asking, it's like, okay, I did all of this for you, and apparently that's not worth it to you. Really, get out of my life. And you just literally remove them from the picture because you understand that I've put all of this effort into you to make you stronger, to make you feel better, to make you more valuable, to make you more capable. And apparently, like, that's not worth anything to you. How dare
Well,
you? Right?
I do the same thing though. Like with my people in my inner circle, if I do something, like I will strategically make conversations happen instead of just being blunt, because I've been surrounded my entire life with extremely sensitive people. And what I do is I frame it in a way where it comes up in a conversation. And then when I see the change happen in their life, I mean, as a result of a conversation, it makes me feel really good. Well, if that happens over and over, and this person consistently, is just, is belittling to me or doesn't recognize the value I add to their life, there's nothing that breaks my heart more than that. Because the people I love, I put so much energy into making their life better. And then I feel like I have the same thing.
But you're more forceful about it. You're more emotional about it. It's remember, you guys have the same cognitive function, so of course you would identify each other in that way. It's just they're in different priority level. That's why you're so similar to each other. STP, NFJ quadra. So you're an NFJ. And you spend a lot of energy doing that for like multiple people. But here's the thing, Katie, she puts a lot of energy into like one person at a time because she's like that quality
And that
time.
person would know who they are right now. You know what I mean?
So when you like one person at a time, because like the reason why she has INFJ subconscious, and the INFJ subconscious is really all about improving individuals, whereas the ENFJ ego, yours, Luann, is about improving a multitude, a lot of people. So it's a different point of view. You can improve individuals, and that's great, but it's more fulfilling for you, Luann, when it's actually a large group or a group of people, a large team, for example. But from Katie's point of view, it's like, well, hold on, I need to have some real serious quality time here to invest in this one person and really make this one person super, super loyal, because that's all I need. I just need one person that I can depend on, especially like when something bad happens and that I can't like let go of it, etc. You know what I'm saying? But Luann's point of view is like, I like to have multiple people, because she's like, well, not everybody can do everything for me, so there's got to be some options there. So I'm just going to have this person handle this for me. I'm going to have this person handle this for me, and I enrich all their lives, etc. But Katie's point of view is like, I just need to find that one really high quality, dependable person, go full on, invest in them, see if they'll actually be there for me, and and reliable, like solid ground that I can stand on, die hard loyal, someone who's always asking me what I think, and they're willing to take criticism, someone that feels good about having me around, and someone that I could actually be okay with wanting and sharing that really that area of myself, to like showing desire for somebody, because being desirous towards someone, it doesn't matter, friend or relationship, or even like from a parent, it can be pretty scary, because it's like, if I allow myself to reveal what I want, that means that leaves me open to manipulation, and I don't want someone manipulating me, and
Are you scared of that, Katie?
Of being manipulated?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like terrified. Yeah. And if I know somebody does, like I drop them like it's hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the thing, if I may, STPs, ISTPs as well, they do have this thing where they can jump to conclusions about the intentions of others because they have any trickster and any demon, and then they can end up making decisions about the intentions of others when in reality it's not true, and then they find out months later it wasn't actually true, and what they believed was true was not true, and then they feel really guilty about it, and then it's like, okay, what do I do now?
I
So
don't ever feel guilty about it because like I have to trust myself, or who am I gonna trust, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's very typical STJ shadow, because it's like, or it's even TI parent, like, because I'm the same way. Like, who can you trust? Because TE critic is out there, and it's like everyone around me is potentially like not intelligent. Everyone around me is just trying to take advantage of me. Everyone around me is like going to be a problem, you know, potentially. And it's like, so as a realist, Katie's got to be like constantly going out there and loyalty checking people to make sure that, hey, you're loyal, right? Because I did this thing for you. You remember that, right? You remember, because I did this for you. You know, you're loyal to me, right? Well, you know, that's just kind of where it's at. Like, it's really important to, you can do loyalty checks in some cases, but it's not as forceful as it is with Katie, because it's a central need that she has to make sure that she has people reliable around her. Whereas Luann's point is, it's like, well, if people feel valued first, then they'll be reliable because they feel valued. I'm valuing them. You know, I'm giving them balloons and candy. You know, whereas Katie's like, I've invested this much in these people. I want to give them a good experience. They really need to be loyal to me because I really put all that individual in this like one person. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of energy spent in that regard, right? So it's just two different points of view. You know, one is focused on many versus, you know, one who's focused on like individuals in that regard. So.
What do you think about that, Luann?
Well, I know that I do loyalty check people, but here's how I have a whole system on how I handle people. So the people that are closest to me, so you were saying that you're scared that people manipulate you. I already categorize people in how much I trust them. Everyone has a category on how I trust them. Like you were in a category, Katie. Like everyone is in a category in my life. So the people closest to me, I do loyalty check them. And then as like the next circle of people, I just keep an eye on them. And then, you know, if I sense that they're manipulative, then I just put them further away in my life. I just don't let them get close to me. You know what I mean? So I'm not necessarily so scared of being manipulated because, I mean, I already have people at a distance where they need to be to not be, but except for the people closest to me, and then I do loyalty check them. And
Yeah.
my sister actually has watched an episode of yours, Chase, where you talk about the ESTP loyalty checking, and she went through and she was like, yeah, remember when you did this? That was you loyalty checking me. I only loyalty check, you know, the main people in my life, but yes, I do.
Yeah, ENFJs loyalty check all the time. I was in a relationship with an ENFJ for 4 years in a row, and she loyalty checked me like literally all the time. Like she straight up loyalty checked me. And
I don't do it all the time. I only need to know every now and then.
yeah, it was every now and then. I guess I'm like embellishing there, but for Katie's standpoint, like it's paramount. She has to know that she can rely on somebody if she calls. Otherwise, because she'll find herself in a situation where like, well, I don't know if I'm going to want the right thing, and I'm just going to make a decision because I have to make a decision. It sucks I have to make a decision because I don't know what I want, and I make the decision. Oh crap, wrong decision. And I'm stuck in this hole and I can't get out. I need to call someone who's loyal to me to pull me out of this situation. And then they do, and it's good to go. That's why she has to loyalty check them, because NI inferior doesn't know what it wants. It just doesn't. Unless it's aspiring, it usually has to see what everybody else is doing first, including ordering food at a restaurant, before it knows what it wants to order first, because it's like, hey, I got to find out what everyone else is,
You
ordering
do that,
first.
Katie, at a restaurant?
I let people order for me.
Yeah.
I don't even like reading the menu, to be honest. But no, I mean, if it's with people I don't really know, I'll just pick something. But
Yeah, because it's like it's all about the shared experience.
Yeah. I dated an ENTP for a while, actually. I literally never looked at the menu, ever. No idea what we were getting, ever.
Fair enough. Yeah,
Okay.
Awesome. I'll keep that in mind.
I kind of guess I do, Lou. I don't know, but I don't know. Yeah. But I think I'm learning. I think as you age, you do learn more and more about what you do and don't like and do and don't want, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very sensible.
Okay. Luann?
What?
I don't know.
Hey, I have a question for both of you guys. What do you guys call me when you talk about me?
Luann.
Luann.
Oh, okay. I've heard people call me Love, and I've heard people call me Lou, and I've heard people call me Louie. So I was just curious.
Yep.
It's a strange thing because, I mean, before I talked to you, Chase, I usually talked about C.S. Joseph because, I mean, that's your name on YouTube. That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's a pen name. The reason why is because my surname is not appropriate for audiences because it's a French name. It's Simoni. So due to the pronunciation and the spelling, it's a little rough. So I used my middle name, Joseph, for that. Kind of like how what C.S. Lewis had to do. Yeah.
Interesting.
Luann, he's got me a little messed up about you here. I don't know what to say.
My plan is to do a couple videos through this week, like to dedicate this week to figuring out what type I am. So, yeah, just wait to make up your mind for a while. That's what I'm going to do.
No, I'm not in a hurry, yeah.
I'm going to hear other perspectives and see. Because, I mean, you make a good case.
Yeah. Is ENFJ one you've gotten in your comments a lot?
No. Why does nobody... Chase, I have a question. Why does nobody guess me as an ESFJ? I get ESF or ENFJ. Why does nobody guess me as an ENFJ? I've gotten ESFJ and ESFP.
Because people are using the letter dichotomies. They need to stop using the MBTI letter dichotomies. And it's a flawed theory. It's wrong. It's only 40% accurate at best. And it's absolutely incorrect. That's why I did the lecture, the MBTI letter dichotomies debunked. And it's just not going to work. Like, it's really, really not going to work. So, and because here's the thing, when you do a letter doesn't include cognitive functions. It doesn't understand cognitive access. It doesn't understand quadras, interaction styles, temperaments, etc. It has no clue what that is. So I have to really, really, really delve in deep just to be able to understand exactly what they are. And then once you know their cognitive functions, you know how their personality works, you can meet them at that level and you are good to go, no problem, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you understand why people think that I'm high SE user?
Yeah, because you have an optimistic SE, because you have SE child. It's optimistic. It's not pessimistic. So
no, but it very much comes across on camera.
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. Whereas, like, Katie's like very heroic with her SE, but you're very childish with your SE, like a little
How
kid.
am I heroic with my SE? I feel like SE is a hard one to characterize.
It is, but you're just so serious about reality around you and the physics, and like you're so aware of like the birds above you and whatnot. You're looking around all the time, trying to survey. You're always constantly surveying all the time. Luann surveys, but not as much as you do. You do it twice as much as she does. So.
Okay.
I practice being controlled, Chase. Meet me in person, and then we can discuss it again.
Yeah, because when we're at a bar, or when we're out together or whatever, like, we both are just looking at everybody the whole time. I mean, we both are just so aware of everything. And like I said, I have a lot of ENFJ friends who are nothing like this. And I find that my ENFJ friends are constantly like buffering me because I'm so intense or whatever, that they see me like
Happens to me all the time.
going at people,
I go at people. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. TI parent represent.
And how did I handle it?
You're right there with me. I mean, you just go in with me. Like, that's how I didn't feel like I was being buffered at all. I felt
we actually had an incident where somebody came up and was talking to us, and
Luann's a bigger bully than me.
Well, I'm not a bully.
Well, yeah,
The situation had to be handled.
People's personal belongings.
Oh yeah, I did.
Just would not give it back. Anyway, but no, she does not try to buffer me. You know what I mean?
I mean, but I've spent, here's another thing to think about. I've spent a lot of time around ENTPs, and I've learned that I like to watch what unfolds. So, I mean, by nature, do I buffer? I don't know that I do, but I love watching things unfold. I love having a show. So if you go at people, I'm gonna watch. You know.
There's a chance that the people you think are ENFJs are not actually ENFJs. Just saying.
Well,
Just saying.
I have one best friend who I'd be willing to put a lot of money on.
All right. Well, I told you I'd give a coaching session, so we can definitely do that. So I'll give you both a free coaching session for sure.
What are you going to coach us on?
Whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Like, it's whatever you want. You just say so. So.
Okay, can we sit in each other's coaching sessions? So basically 2 for the price
if you
of
want.
one.
Yeah. Well, I like whatever you want. Like, I'm down. It's no problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at me go for what I want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So nice. So nice. Yep. But Katie was looking like, I'm not sure I want that or whatever, like, yeah, okay, yeah. But and I parents like, I want it. Yeah. Oh, you two are so cute.
Okay. Tell us more about what the differences between the two would be, because I feel like this is the type that would be hardest to argue a difference with, because there's so few, really.
No, there's 4 types. There's like I said, STPs and NFJs. So there's 4 total types.
Well,
of Quadra.
if you get into like your eyes, I mean, I feel like it's relatively easy to tell introverted versus extroverted. Relatively, like, clearly neither one of us is a freaking introvert. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not a thing. Yeah. And I know. Oh, we don't do the letter dichotomy. Sorry, my bad. But I don't know. This is the hardest one to argue over. So what else is different?
Hey, listen, here's what I think we should do. After we hang out, can we revisit this video? So maybe postpone. We can do it in person after we hung out for a while. We can reshoot the video in person. Yeah. And
I'll bring my GoPro.
Great.
Yeah, we could do that. That's fine. Definitely. Awesome. Yeah, and we could but like differences, they're both in charge, but like, again, one's pragmatic, one's affiliative. That's like the biggest difference. And then cognitive functions are just in a different order, essentially. Otherwise, they're super, super mega similar, but it's just not, not the same. That's why people often get mistyped between the two of them on a regular basis. And and just letter dichotomies, the test, just avoid them like the plague. Use the type grid instead. Although we're going to be re-releasing the type grid with something a little bit more, a little bit easier to read and less words and more defined and refined to make it a little bit easier for people. So we're also going to be releasing a lot more content on my website just to kind of give the Reader's Digest version, so they have to sit through like the many, 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 many hour lectures that we have. So for the deep dives, etc. So yeah. Like, that's kind of like where we're going with it. So just to kind of like, give you guys an idea of what's coming for the future. Yeah. But cool. Are we good? Are we about done? Because I kind of want to get something to eat.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing this so much, Chase. I think it'll be a fun conversation to have, and for my people that watch it, because I'm posting it on my channel, right? Yeah. So I would love to hear you guys' feedback. I will say I would, wait for me to release some content. Keep an open mind. It's not a big deal if I am mistyped. No big deal at all. So, but yeah, give me your feedback.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and if you guys liked our talk here, please subscribe to Luann's channel and leave a like and a comment and hit the bell for like alerts, like please, because it's the dopest, right? So, and yeah, and then also, yeah, we should all hang out and yeah, we could do another revisit of this later and whatnot, and we'll just handle that. So. All right, cool. I guess so. With all that being said, I'm gonna stop the recording, and then we'll hang out for a couple minutes, and I'm gonna go get something to eat. So,
All
see
right.
y'all later.
All
Hey.
right.
All right, later.